Anyways, hello and welcome back to episode 52 of the Have We Made It Yet podcast. 恭喜发财.
恭喜发财.
Yes, because we're recording this on the first year of the Chinese New Year, the year of the ox, which is today. Anyways, so because Lucas and I, your co-hosts on this podcast, we're two creatives, two Asian creatives, two Asian guys just trying to make it in their respective passions, and it's like the year of the ox. We're starting up, it's fresh, and it's a timely episode because it's the last episode of the series 1 of the Have We Made It Yet podcast with your comedian co-host Josh Yang and
the actor Lucas Ng. And yes, if you could hear, I'm not sure if you heard it, but the gasps of surprise and shock and dismay were piercing through my headphones. So please continue, Josh. I just want to bring light to that.
Yes, it's just, the amount of where we've come in a year has been an amazing journey of making it, of struggle, of pandemic, but we'll get into that a little later. Either way, welcome to this episode, this very special episode, and at the top of all of our episodes, Lucas, I have to ask you, have you made it yet?
Oh man, you know what? To be honest though, it's episode 52, last of season 1. And the reason why we said 52 was going to be the cap of season 1 is because there's 52 weeks in a year. So we've accomplished our initial goal for this podcast. And because of that, Josh, I'm going to answer your question with a yes. Because hell yeah, we've made it, man.
We've made it to the end of the first year. And it's, if you think about it, it is pretty crazy to think we've done 52 of these now, and they're weekly, essentially weekly. And it's like the difference between how we started in the beginning towards where we are now. Like, our whole idea for doing this was like before the world went to shit. And we were actually doing this in person. Like, we wanted to be that in person. We had a setup. We had a, we had our little, Pikachus and Minions and Jerry Seinfeld bobbleheads there, and we were like ready to talk shit about making it, all the down and the dirty stuff. And then we had to adapt. We had to adapt to this now, this Zoom format. And
no
then
doubt.
it was interesting. It was so interesting. Whoa. There he is.
Just for day one listeners, like, still to this day, it's right here still.
Yeah, he's ride and die.
I will be asking you that same question in a short second. But in terms of changes that in my own personal craft that I have to deal with, when I first started on this journey of acting, I was getting audition calls for, like, what do you call it? The young university jock, that type of stuff. Romantic interest number 1. Romantic interest number 3, that type of stuff, like younger roles. But now in 1 year, and I guess like the pandemic changed things, I have now graduated to auditioning for single dad roles. So things have changed, and
Wow.
You know what? It's cool to be versatile. So I'm happy to be getting those type of audition calls, but things have changed in a matter of like 1.5 year kind of thing.
Yeah.
But to you, Josh.
Yes.
You and I like what you have down there.
A little scruff. There's so much hair on my head these days.
Mr. Josh Yang.
Yes.
Have you made it yet?
I haven't made it yet in, the grand scheme of things. However, still, man, in terms of making this podcast, we've made it, man. Lucas, you and I have made it 52 times weekly, and it's like it's one thing to be able to do this just with you and me and us just talking, but it's another thing for us to switch to like being guest centric, like
Yeah.
what, 16, 17 episodes in.
Uh-huh.
And then since then, we've done like how many? Like 30, probably around 30 episodes with like 30-ish guests.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's in terms of like what I imagine we'd be able to accomplish
Uh-huh.
in this podcast in when we first set out to do this.
Right.
It's like it's definitely exceeded my expectations, like
Aw.
in terms of what we are able to like put out there.
Mhm.
Granted, I think I did look back a little bit in terms of like when we first started out, is like we set some expectations, like what do we think this
Mhm.
podcast will be, what do we think our numbers will be like. And it was I think I put it out there as like, you know what, after one year, if we can get 500 subscribers, that would be great. And then
Yeah.
like halfway through the year, looking at our subscriber count, I was kind of like, oh no, that felt like a bit of a stretch. But
You
you know
shot for the
what?
moon though, man. You shot for the moon.
Hey, we rocketed to the moon. That's what we going for, that, Doge all the way. But
Yeah.
but then you come plummeting down.
Mhm.
But apart from that though, yeah, no, it's kind of like being able to do all of that and be able to do that day in and day out with you, Lucas. I gotta say, I couldn't have asked for a better co-host
Oh, stop it.
during
You
this
too.
this time, this pandemic, being able to put this together. And you know what, it's like I don't think I would 100% wouldn't be able to do this, because I was like, it takes effort to motivate each other and to make sure like we can separate the work and make it, like a consistency when
Mhm.
putting it out there. And you know what, when it comes to dealing with the stresses of putting out a podcast, and is like, I feel like the listeners just don't realize how much effort we put in. See, okay, so the difference between the podcast and the video is that people who listen will think I might have gotten emotional, but then
Huh.
people who are watching will notice that my face is stone cold solid. Like there's no indication of sadness. It's all in the voice, which is why I probably don't have much range as an actor. But I think the thing we got to realize is, Lucas, we've hit a
Mhm.
milestone actually.
Hell yeah, we have, man.
Yes, we have.
Did you also, you know what, Josh? You take it away with the subscriber count, because on YouTube, it's something that we have been really striving for, and we were so close like earlier this week, and we actually surpassed it today. So Josh, take it away with
You
that
know
news.
what? You know what? I appreciate it, because like we did do a bit of a push towards the end, and like you were right in there. And I think it was through your efforts that we really managed to do it. But like, how I said before, it's like, oh, maybe if we hit 500 subscribers, that'd be cool. That'd be like a thing we set for ourselves. But one of the things we have been saying throughout the year is, if we can hit that 100 subscriber amount, we can get that sweet custom URL. Oh, and I'm proud to say that as of today, February 12th, um, which actually, you know what, incidentally, is my father and my sister's birthday. So I remember
Oh,
you said happy birthday to your mom. So I was like, happy birthday to my dad and my sister,
oh, same
who
birthday.
were
That's really
who were
nice.
born on the same day. And yeah, happy birthday to them. I digress. But yeah, as of today, we are at 105 subscribers. Yes.
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 Thank you so much for subscribing, and we know that it takes faith to actually believe in us and everything like that. So thank you for your belief, and for we won't disappoint you. We'll continue pushing these out, and we hope you keep on listening and tell your friends about us, because we really appreciate it.
Yeah, we really do, because it's kind of like realizing and understanding how hard it is to just get somebody to subscribe, to just be able to like put out these consistently and be like, but why aren't we getting what we, it's like, aren't we doing some interesting stuff, aren't we having, it's like, yes, but
Uh-huh.
it's harder than it looks. It's much
Yeah.
harder than it looks. And which is
Uh-huh.
why, you know I feel like we should announce that even though that, we've technically set this as 52 episodes, once every week
Mhm.
for a whole year, that this would be end of series 1, season 1, and that it feels like this is a good moment for a transitional period. Like we've done this for a year now. We've learned a lot, and I feel like it is time for a little bit of a break as we review and reevaluate and
Mhm.
innovate. Am I right?
Exactly, man. We gotta, you know, if there's anything that I've learned, it's always to take a rest if you can in this crazy industries that we're in, because if you don't take care of yourself, no one else will. Um, Josh, when do you think we will be back for more episodes in season 2?
Series 2, I well, you know what? Like we're gonna end this off. We're gonna put this out February 5th, 16th. We're gonna put this out February 16th,
Mhm.
which is incidentally, I think, when we put out our first episode last year, wasn't it? Like the 15th,
About there, yeah.
15th or 14th.
Mhm.
So we're really putting it out literally pretty much a year to the day.
Yeah.
And I feel like as we've done that, we're probably gonna take about like a month and a half break in between to kind of reevaluate what we've done. Because like putting out one a week has already been a pretty rigorous schedule if you think about it, right? Like
Mhm.
we haven't been able to, we managed to put them out, but we haven't necessarily been able to, find the time because we both have to work and go on auditions or have other things that are taking up our schedule. We can't put so much time. So it felt like we need to reevaluate our strategy, our approach, and that we
Mhm.
needed some time in between so we can separate and come back fresh with a revamped version
Mhm.
of the podcast. And I think maybe a month and a half will be a good time to do it. So we're looking for end of March, early April is around the time
Sick.
where we're going to come back, right?
And to your point too, exactly. So look out for us. We're not done yet. And
No.
please, when season 2 comes back, don't call us a comeback season, because we ain't
Mm-mm.
never left, man. You'll see us posting clips of past episodes. Tiny tidbits of information that you might have missed in our hour-long episodes are now going to be condensed into maybe like 2-minute highlight reels of, like, remember Arsalan's little cousins coming into the room while we're doing the podcast with him?
Yeah.
People might have missed that. You'll get to see that kind of stuff. And to your point too, I'm just looking on your Instagram. Episode 1 literally came out February 14th.
Yo, look at that.
Yeah.
Episode 1, February 14th. Meh. Oh, do you remember, Frick? Do you remember that? Okay, I remember when we went into, what was it, Long and McQuaid up
Yeah.
on Bathurst or something, and we were like, yo, we're doing this. We're committing.
Yeah.
And it's like, people talk about doing things, but it was very lucky that you and I at that time were both willing to do this, and that we held each other accountable to put some money down,
Yeah.
because you can say you're going to start something, do something all you want, unless you actually commit to it, and committing to it sometimes does require the step of putting money down. So
Yeah.
when we put that money down for that 1 month rental of some microphones and that converter, like the recorder,
Yeah.
that's when we're like, okay, we're gonna give this a shot. We're gonna give
Yeah.
this a try. And yeah, no, those are good memories. Good memories of us like figuring it out, how to make it look like somewhat decent
Ex-
in your room and stuff.
No doubt, man. And it really is true. Until you like put some skin in the game, which is usually money, you don't really feel as if you have some commitment to it. Because if we got everything for free, we'd be like, "Ugh, there's no investment,
Mhm.
whatever, like that." I'm just gonna throw this to you first, Josh, though. But is there any like overarching theme or mantra that you've gotten in our like 30 plus guests that we've had, or just in our episodes with just you and I, that you gleaned from season 1?
Oh, like in terms of what we've kind of taken away from interviewing so many different people about their making it, what it means to make it.
Yeah.
I think it is, it's nice to see that. I think what my initial expectation or assumption would be is like, oh, when people get into this, they're going to be like, I want to go to the top, or like I'm making it as, winning an Oscar, winning a Grammy, all that stuff. But once it comes down to it, once you've actually gotten into the process and you realize how much time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears it
Mhm.
actually takes to put into it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a matter of being able to support yourself to do it. That's what it comes down to, is being able to do what you love and being and not have to be beholden to a separate work schedule in order to do what you love to do. If you can do what you
Mhm.
love to do, then that's essentially making it. And that's kind of the similar sentiment that it seems like we've gotten out of all most of our guests. Do you
Yeah.
agree?
No, absolutely, absolutely, man. Um, that's the thing. It's when we say like making it, it's not made it, because you're continually doing it no matter where you are in your life, in your career, and in your progress. Um, if there's one thing that I've learned from say even Jamie, from Curtis, from Chase to Annabelle, it's that in this industry you have to have unbelievable belief in yourself.
Hmm.
Almost, I was about to say something that might come off crazy, but like, if you don't believe in yourself in this industry, because everyone always has a way of like negging you,
Mm,
making you feel like you're not the shit. But the moment that you let that like seep into your own subconscious is the moment that that you start believing it and you start spiraling down. But at that same time, believe in yourself, because
hmm.
you know what, at the end of the day, if you can't do it, what makes you think someone else will actually believe in you?
Yeah, and like I don't deny that. Like even though it may sound a little weird, a little bad, but like I agree. I think you have to believe in yourself so much to the point of like almost slightly like delusional. You have to be like almost have a little bit of a delusional sense of confidence
Yeah.
because but sometimes what we're striving for, if I'm like I want to be able to perform on stage in front of like 1,000 people in a theater or whatever, or if like, oh, I want to be on have a Netflix special, or if for you it's like, oh, I want to work with some of the best actors, directors, go to
Yeah.
all these locations, win awards in the future. It's like, if you think about it, those dreams based upon like, where most people are when they start out, they're delusional dreams to other people, because
Yeah.
they haven't seen it happen yet. They haven't seen
Mhm.
the trajectory just yet.
Yeah.
So like you need a little bit of that delusional confidence in order to make it happen, because if nobody else is going to believe that you can necessarily do it right away, then how are you going to be motivated enough to get there?
No doubt.
And yeah, that's one of the things, because you need something to push you to a certain degree
Mhm.
um, through the hard times. That
Yeah.
confidence that like what you're worth, your talent, your drive, and
Yeah.
if other people can't see it, they can't see it yet, but you know what pushes you, and
Mhm.
that's like that can be an unlimited source
Yeah.
of strength and like energy and power.
Mhm.
Um, but also at the same time, like I think you'll agree, we do talk a lot about the mental health component of
Yeah.
doing this as well, right? And
Mhm.
I know you do a great job during our interviews of bringing that point back of like how have our guests dealt with
Mhm.
um the hardships and all of that. Like what have you learned in that aspect of
Oof.
mental health, mental balance, mental awareness when
Yeah.
pursuing this process of making it?
I'm not sure if people can see me, but I got goosies as you were saying that.
Mm, really? Well,
Which is
hey,
funny, because goosebumps is literally two syllables, but goosies is still two syllables, so it's not any shorter. Any
potato, potato.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so first, I do want to mention that point about your mental health, taking care of it. We asked that question directly to Mr. Chase Tang, and
Mm,
and I remember his answer on that was, first of all, don't be identified by just one thing. I remember when we asked that question, he's like, many people actually don't know me as the actor. They know me. They might know me more as actually the fitness guy, that the guy that uh, got ripped in like a shorter amount of time and everything. And he was basically saying how it was good to have versatility of character, because if you only have your whole character, your whole personality on one thing, which is at times just being an actor. And if that doesn't work out, then damn, man, your whole self worth is
Hmm.
beholden onto this one thing, which may crumble or fail spectacularly. So
Hmm.
have versatility of character. If anything, you act. You're not an actor. You write. You're not solely a writer.
Mm.
And another person that really opened my eyes to that was Georgia Bradner.
Right.
When I asked her, I was like, "Hey, do you have any mantra, any statement, any thesis that you take to different working environments that help you keep you grounded and focused?" And she took a moment to really answer that, which is really really generous for her, because she took the time to think about it. Was she basically said, "Ooh, I like that answer. I like that question, and I usually just say I'm enough.
Mm.
Where I am is where I need to be, and that any time that I'm in a new environment is that I I have enough and within myself and without myself, and at the same time I can trust my other work colleagues that also believe in me
Hmm.
to do what I need to do on this new set that I'm on." And I think
Yeah.
just those two answers really opened my eyes to the ver- the many different character faces that you need to have to make it in this industry, but also know within yourself that you are enough in any new situation. So
Hmm.
those two people really stuck out to me. How about for you, Josh?
Yeah. I think the general thing. I think one of the things I realized even as you were speaking that as well is, we the reason we kind of ask the question, making it, have you made it yet?
Hmm.
In the process of making it to a lot of different guests, and we get varying answers, you know. And then diving into their mentality, their approach to it, we also get a variety of ways of approaching it.
Hmm.
I think when it comes to that mental health element, is kind of like everybody's mental health is different.
Yeah.
What will get them to a certain place is different. What, brings them back to reality, back to a center, is different.
Hmm.
So like I would say, like, there isn't necessarily something that, is all encompassing conclusion that,
Hmm.
we can say. It's just that I think the understanding is that everybody's path is different.
Hmm.
Everybody's goals are different. What motivates people are going to be different.
Hmm.
How they approach the mental healthness, mental wellness, mental health. Whoa, that sounded really weird in my head. But yeah, like, how people approach that is also going to be different. So
Yeah.
necessarily when you're listening to this, it's not like you should take everybody's advice or mentality or what they say as being the one answer. It's that
Hmm.
it is a answer. If
Yeah.
it doesn't, you know, make sense to you as being something that works for you, then, maybe something else, maybe another guest's perspective will
Hmm.
work more for you.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like, some people will have this great drive,
Hmm.
and it's like out of this sense of like wanting to be the best, or like wanting to perform the best. But then also a lot of people, is like, through their experiences, like, what, the best thing that works for me is understanding and staying in the moment, being thankful for what I have.
Yeah.
And then, like, what if anything else comes later, then it's a gift.
Hmm.
So it's like everybody's approach is different.
Yeah.
There is no one shoe that fits all.
No doubt.
And I think as we move to more other guests, we'll hear the similar things. Everybody will be different.
Yeah.
And it's just, the more perspectives you can hear on it, I think the better.
Hmm. Yeah. You reminded me of this one thing that Curtis Lum said. It was
Mhm.
um, we asked him initially, "Have you made it yet?" And he said short answer yes, long answer no. And but what he basically said was like, it was almost like a time capsule to himself.
Mm.
And to this day, it still really rang true to me, because he said Curtis Lum 5 years ago would be excited and stoked to have the problems that he has today.
Yeah.
Like looking back, even, you know, back 2 years ago, before you and I went on this crazy path of, you pursuing comedy, me pursuing acting. I have a lot less time on my hands right now. you know, if I'm not doing this, I'm at work. If I'm not at work, I'm doing school, doing film school. If I'm not doing film school, I'm doing auditions. So time management is a really big issue for me right now.
Mm.
And you know what? That's a great problem to have, because that means auditions are popping up all over. This podcast is doing great. Schoolwork is keeping me engaged.
Mm.
I still get money. So these are problems or issues, but I'm stoked to have them because they are
Yeah.
aligned to what I want to do. And to your point too, like I'm sure you're incredibly busy doing things you love.
Yeah, and it is that thing. I think the thing maybe we one of the bigger takeaways is also is like you, even though it can get a sense where like making it the goalpost always moves. Once you get there, you may not sometimes feel satisfied. So you just go for the next other thing.
Yeah.
Then looking back on it, it's kind of like where you are now between where you were a year ago, where we are now at 52 episodes, compared to where we were at episode 1, is already way past what we could have necessarily imagined we'd be able to do. Like being able to bring on some of the guests that we were able to bring on and like talk to people that it's like, wow, these are, I've seen some of these actors and actresses on TV. It's like, oh, and now we're kind of talking to them. It is like a little bit of like a surreal, like fourth wall breaking type of,
Totally.
experience. And it's kind of like thinking back to like when we first started, is like, I think we had that was one of the biggest things, like, who are we going to have on as a guest? Like who's going to come onto this? Is like, how are we even going to do that? And like, we've managed to go through our network pretty well. And then also just like straight up cold contacting some people, on Instagram and DMs and stuff. And like, you'd be surprised at how receptive sometimes people are just by messaging them and like, showing them what you're doing. And it just comes back to, I guess, what like Jamie M. Calica, our last guest of season 1 said, is like, get in the water. You gotta make that jump, make that leap. You got to put money down for that 1-month rental of microphones and equipment, because just being able to get into that position, you'll never know how far you swim. You'll never know where it takes you. And I can remember those moments for me, like 2 years ago, 2019, around January, was the moment where it was like I was hanging out with some other friends.
Cool.
And like I was showing them some of like my old videos, like my old valedictorian speech thing. And it was like I was doing the speech in front of like 1,000, 2,000 something people, like in front of my high school graduating class, right? And it was like I was getting like good jokes, good reactions. And it was kind of like when I showed that to them, it just came up while we were hanging out. They were like, oh, you're much better on stage than like we thought. Is like you look very comfortable and stuff like that. And then we started talking more to like, why, how come you've never done stand-up comedy and that kind of thing? Nice. And it's from that night that it was like I really kind of got a bit more convinced by my friends to be like, I should just give it a try. Like what, where I am in my life now is like, why not try something while I'm, in my mid-20s and like living by myself now. And it's like, now is the time to pursue it. Now is the time to take the chance to do it. And it's, I think that moment where I was like standing in the streets afterwards and like waiting for Uber, that it was like thinking back is like, if I'm going to do this, like, where could this go? And if I'm thinking to who I was at that moment to 2 years later now, like knowing that we've done this podcast for 50 some odd episodes, 52 episodes, we've interviewed a bunch of people. I feel like we're or I feel like a little bit more in tune with kind of this acting or like pursued creative community. Being able to perform on a stage already, like half a year, 7 months in, was stuff like I couldn't have imagined. In that moment where I thought it's like, maybe I should do this. So it's just like, it's that same thing, take the leap, get in the water.
For sure, man. And I'm incredibly happy that you committed to this, because honestly, man, like, I know it sounds lame, but you're my shake to my bake.
Oh, shake and bake, baby.
Shake and bake, baby.
Shake and bake.
And I do want to put it out there also. Some of these guests that we've had on, some of them we have never met in real life. And they've been so incredibly generous with their time, knowing that They've never met us in person ever, but they see something in that's worth going on. And with that, I hope that your trust in us has been requited, because we believe in your craft, and we loved having you on too. Um, Josh, do you have that? Do you have like a list of our guests? I just want to like say their names, and then you
I mean,
you can pull it up on Instagram.
I don't have it immediately in front of me, but hey, I can definitely pull it up. So do you want to
Okay.
go like one after the other?
Yeah. We can go alternating.
Oh, okay. Wait, give me a second, give me a second.
Yeah. Started on episode 10 was our first guest.
Ooh, episode 10 was our first guest?
Yeah, man. I know everything like looks really nice, because we went into lockdown by episode 7.
Right. And then like yeah, because then we didn't have to deal with necessarily the camera thing.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So
Okay.
you'll start off with our first guest. Do you want to also go like kind of the title? The title of how we set it up is like
Sure.
two heat and then I'll go with the next one and then and after the other.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. So
Okay.
in terms of our end of year thank you speech to our guests, where we'll do the roll call with our first guest.
Nice. We'll start off with episode 10 with Two Heat with Mr. Evan Furlong.
Next, it was episode 11, Artist at Law with Arsalan Shirazi.
Nice. And then we have The Commercial Look with Annabelle Loy with episode 12.
And then episode 13, Social Dreaming with Zlatina Pacheva, which incidentally, I was watching Kim's Convenience, and she appears in the credits now.
Fuck yeah!
Right? Because like awesome. at the time, I think she was like just starting to like work on Kim's Convenience as a story editor.
Yeah,
and she was working on the season 5 upcoming episode. I've been watching it on CBC Gem, and I was like, oh wait, there she is in the credits. She made it. She made it onto the credits.
We'll give you a shout out on our Instagram. Amazing job, Zlatina. So proud of you. Episode 15. That's What She Said with Phoebe Mui.
With Phoebe Mui, which also, incidentally,
yes,
got a shout out to Phoebe Mui, who was in the latest episode 5.
Well, season 5.
Season 5 episode, latest episode of Riverdale. Oh, that's a quite a credit.
Yeah.
And then next we got Leap of Faith with Chevy Lorenzo.
You can see him on commercials that are still airing, I believe, through 7-Eleven. Like you see him eating pizza. It's a cool show. So good job, Chevy. Keep it up, man. Awesome. Episode 17, Kind of Late with Veronica Antipolo.
Yes, kind of late. And she's been like doing a bunch of like producing more shows, she's a frequent contributor on the I think the Rice Asian podcast as well.
Amazing.
That's been going on around. Episode 18, Birthday. I believe it was like kind of a new single that was released with musical artist Lenny.
Woo!
Thank you.
Keep kicking ass, Lenny. All right, next we have episode 19, Disney Pugs with Ginny Wong. Oh, thank you so much for coming on. You can catch her in The Swan. Hopefully coming out when it does come out, we'll repost it, but look out for her. She's killing it.
Absolutely. Episode 20. Well, we gotta shout out to the Godfather, to the Podfather of the Have We Made It Yet podcast with Jeff Kwok, musical manager and extraordinaire Jeff Kwok.
Nice. And this one. Oof. We got episode 21, Asian Superman with Kent S. Leung. Oh, he's doing big things in China and also here too. So look out for him. He's gonna do bigger things too.
Absolutely. And he's the first episode where we started putting out clips. I definitely remember that. That was the first time we started putting out clips. And like, as we progress through the podcast, we got to make things a little bit better over time, right? And that was the first one we started putting out 1 minute clips. I definitely remember that. Next we have one of my comedic senseis, Joe Vu, in the episode 22, first generation comedian, name of his first released comedy album.
Man.
Oh, and then I guess the next one is also like my comedy sensei, No Expectations episode, titled with Fawad HP. That was another, that was also another moment in the podcast where it was kind of like it felt like for me, as in terms of in the comedy side, it felt like, oh, these are actually working comics, which is essentially, to a degree, like they've made it to making it become their profession.
Yeah.
And it was like, I felt really happy to be able, like, that they were willing to come on to the podcast and go back to back. So I was really thankful for these guys. They I was a part of their class for LOL comedy class up at Absolute Comedy, which now I think they probably they did online courses last year. But look them up on Facebook, LOL comedy class, and follow them on. Great comedians.
His story about performing nude at that nudist colony. Oof. Great bit. Everyone should watch that clip on our Instagram. Next we have episode 24. Cold tea conversation with Natasha Jung. Ugh. She is a hustler, man. She knows how to get to work. So her media empire is slowly being built brick by brick. So keeping an eye on her, because she's going to do big things.
Absolutely. And then our next episode with a guest called Artistic Identity, episode 26, with Danny Lewin. He's a local singer who I'd met through doing comedy around town. He's a very talented guy.
Nice. Then we also have here, one of my co-stars that unfortunately they cut my scenes, but that's another thing. We have episode 27, Stunting Man, with Clarence Chung. And you'll see him on Netflix, actually, February 24th, when Age of Samurai comes out on Netflix, February 24th. Watch out for him.
Yeah. Nice. And then next we got episode 28, Man of Mischief, with Ganesh Tava. Yeah, Tava. Yeah, he's been killing it. He got into, I think it was what was it called again?
The EDA Foundation.
EDA, yes. He was in EDA Foundation, which was kind of founded by the actor Mina Masood.
Yeah.
So like that's like a good, definitely a transitional moment for him to be able to get that support in that process of making it.
Next, we have episode 29, You for You, with Kristen Fung. She is still making great music. And recently I saw on her Instagram or on her Facebook that she was doing live music through Zoom. So she's still making music, still putting out good content, good shows. So watch out for her and follow her too.
Absolutely. And next we have episode 30, The First Rule of Making It, with Britt McRae. And that title was in reference to Fight Club, because I believe that was Britt's favorite, one of her favorite movies, and she really wanted to work with David Fincher. I don't know why the name suddenly escaped me, but yeah, she really wanted to work with David Fincher. So First Rule of Making It is come onto the podcast.
Nice. Next, we have episode 31, Trust the Process, with Anto Chan. Please follow him on Instagram. He has great stuff. And also, too, he is writing, man. And look out for more future projects with him, because things are in the works with this guy. So keep an eye out for Mr. Anto Chan.
Absolutely. And next episode, it's a pretty interesting guest for our next episode, episode 32, A Little Bit Better, with Lana Lux, who is a Twitch streamer. And this was the first time I kind of started getting, like, I met her through friends in Toronto. And it was the first time I was exposed to the Twitch platform, which since then I've now kind of like dived a little deep into the Twitch hole. But it's like, this is opening up a whole new perspective, a whole new avenue, very modern, kind of platform, an area that is now entering the making it stream, making it world. People
So
wanting to
true.
be Twitch streamers, and it's like I think that was a great episode to get a insight into that industry.
No doubt, man. Next we have episode 33 with Time to Do with Michelle Arvizu.
Mm.
I was so honored that she came on, just because, again, like what you had at LOL, Michelle is a coach, was a former coach of mine back at LB Acting Studio.
Mm-hmm.
And to just sit down with her for an hour and a bit to just talk about her experiences, life, and her future ambitions, truly groundbreaking for me. And I hope she comes on again for season 2.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. And next we got episode 34. There is no style with Ben Laurie, a friend of ours who is a graphic designer. And again, we're not all just about acting, singing, comedy. We like branching out. We want to figure out what these creative industries, the process of making it for them. He had a great perspective on when it came to graphic design and that kind of art. So that's an interesting one if you're interested in graphic design.
Yeah. Next, we have our first LA guest. Oof. Episode 35, LA Confidential with content with a K.
With a K. K is very important, or else you can't really separate it. And
exactly.
this was another. I felt like this was also kind of one of those weird, a bit of a surreal moment, because it was like I knew him years ago, like just in class we're in one group project together in Europe. And it's like all of a sudden now he's out there in LA trying to make it, and it's like now we're talking to somebody who's trying to make it in LA. You never know what's gonna happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I already said content, so you're up next.
Oh, I thought. Oh, frick. Yeah, my bad. We'll cut this out in post. This awkward moment, or we'll leave it in. I don't know. Episode. Wait. Let me. Next up, we have episode 36 with A Time to Reflect with Curtis Lum.
Oof.
And that one was a great one. That was like a very good reflective episode. I mean, the title is A Time to Reflect. But it's like we talked a lot about COVID in that episode, and it's kind of like taking, the time off as an opportunity. And I think he also was able to say, like, he was working for years. Like he hadn't stopped working for like 15, 16 years maybe at that point. It was like this was the first time he had some time off. He was able to really catch a break. And that's sometimes, when it came to the pandemic, some people needed that.
Catch his grandma's 80th surprise.
Yes.
I believe it still is on YouTube. So it's a great short film, directed and also stars him too. So catch that. Next we have, so excited that he came on. We have episode 37, Strive to Stand Out with Mr. Chase Tang. Man, that guy can write a book right now. Watch out for him in Jupiter's Legacy.
Yeah, Jupiter's Legacy. Please remember that it's Jupiter's Legacy, because I made the mistake during the podcast of like saying it a couple times as Jupiter Ascending, and it's like that was embarrassing. That was like I apologize, Chase. I gotta take this time to apologize. Thank you for coming on, and be sure to check him out in Jupiter's Legacy on Netflix.
Awesome.
Later on. It's gonna be released later this year. Jupiter's Legacy. I'm sorry. Next we have episode 39, Post-Apocalyptic Asians with Ryan Jin, Vancouver-based actor. He's been working. He's been popping up here and there on a couple shows around, and it was great to get him on as well. Had a bit of a connection to him through my roommate, and it was nice to get his perspective on his experiences and his great opportunity to be like a 3-4 episode arc on Van Helsing, which is on Netflix, so you can check him out there.
Awesome. Oh, next we have, man, this one was cool. Next we have episode 40, On My Mind with Georgia Bradner. Again, we met up randomly at that New Year's Eve party, and from there my whole life trajectory had kind of changed. So thanks for reminding me that, just being yourself, being enough is enough to guide you along in this turbulent career path that we've, for some reason, chosen to be on. So thank you for coming on, Georgia.
Yep. Always, you always got to get that perspective from Georgia
Mhm.
on your mind. Okay. Anyways, it's a reference. I was trying to make a reference to
Nice.
Georgia on my mind, the song. Anyways, I just wanted to make sure that was clear. Episode 41. Wait, the path never ends, which was kind of oddly perfectly titled for what we were discussing and for like what the premise of our podcast is, because the title is actually the name of the first EP of our guest in that episode. Wait,
Mhm.
the path never ends, with Adam Bryant Paul.
Mhm.
And he's a musician out of Montreal, and he was working on his music, released some music around that time. And
Mhm.
he's putting in a EP which is out now, so you could look that up. Wait, the path never ends, and it fit perfectly with what we're talking about. The path doesn't necessarily end when it comes to making it.
Exactly, man. Next, we got episode 42, The Right Reasons, with Donald Hang. Oh, thank you for opening up that door of, becoming an actor. With without ever meeting you, I don't think I would have known that this would have existed, because my imagination apparently is the size of a peanut. So, thank you, Donald.
Thank you. And episode 43, Return of the Actor, with Monica Rodriguez Knox. And I mean, I was trying to think, well, in terms of that episode, like what would be a great title for it. And I think she has a very unique experience, because she started out a little bit when she was early 20s in
Mhm.
the industry, in film for a little bit. And then she took a bit of a hiatus and just like left the creative industry, worked in the corporate world for like 10 to 15, like 15 years pretty much.
Mhm.
And then, hey, came back with a passion, came
Exactly.
back to it with a fire. The return of the actor is what had happened. And yeah, it was like she had some great perspectives on that, and like balance with family,
Mhm.
always important.
Exactly. Next, we have episode 44, Mongolian Idol, with Anu. Oh, she's still releasing out singles right now. Then I saw recently, just up until like 2 days ago, new tracks are being put on her Spotify. So all her contact information, all her links and social media handles are on our Instagram. So check her out there. You'll
Yeah.
love her stuff.
Yeah, and it is like, it seemed like it really ramped up after our episode as well. It's like
Mhm.
releasing new kind of photos, projects associated with them. Just a lot of content there, so definitely check her out.
Mhm.
Next we have episode 45. Wow, Spinning Out, with Amanda Joe, and this is one where it's like it was a little bit, I feel like we might have been a little bit intimidated just because like she was on Netflix. It was like a main cast member on Netflix
Uh-huh.
TV series, Spinning Out, and it's like I'd seen promos of it. I had seen her in some trailers, and it's like, wow, to be able to be gracious and open to coming on and chatting with us, sharing her experience was very appreciative, very appreciative.
Mhm. Thank you, Amanda. Next, we have episode 47, You Never Know, with the Leonard Chan.
Hmm.
Oh, I was just talking to Josh yesterday about how good that episode was, just because he's a wealth of knowledge that has been in the game for so long and has been so prolific in his work. So
Hmm.
watch him as he's gonna put out more stuff behind and also hopefully in front of the camera too. So we're rooting for you, Leonard. Keep killing it, man.
Absolutely, and definitely, like when we put out all these different episodes of different perspectives, check them out on YouTube through the playlists as well. Like you can watch them one after the other. And like if you're thinking about doing comedy, is like I think going through some of the comedian playlist will
Mhm.
definitely give you a great perspective on the mentality, the experiences of doing it. And
Mhm.
Leonard had some great advice.
Great. Mhm.
Next, we got episode 48, Run On Sentences, with IB Shocker and Kevy3TM, a couple LA hip hop artists, which we got in contact with
Mhm.
through our episode doing content with content and the Open Studios Artistic Collective out in LA. And
Mhm.
it's like, you know what? It's a whole nother, it's crazy to think, content was a guy who I messaged out of kind of the blue and try to see what he was up to with it, releasing his new stuff and going to LA. And it's through that we were able to connect with even more LA artists and other artists who we may not have been able to contact with necessarily. And it's like, this is how you kind of build your network and like really reach out and get different perspectives. So really happy to get these guys on to be able to share their experience. And they're released their first collaborative EP, which is Run on Sentences. So look for that.
Awesome. Next we have episode 49, the late pod with Michael Maroney. Great guy, one of the most real, genuine guys that you can meet. I had the pleasure of working with him on set with this one commercial, and he's a lifelong friend now. And watch out for him, because of course, like the pandemic has ruined lots, in terms of like hopes that we had. But this guy, if there's anything that I know, this guy has resilience like none other. So watch out for him, man. He's gonna do big.
Absolutely. And then next we have episode 50, the big 50, with called Milestone Memories with Janice Mendez. And she was a great guest to come on. It's funny, we I think we talked about it off screen, and like we were wondering if we should mention it, but like she kind of let us know that it was episode 50, and she's 50 as well. She turned 50 this year, and it's kind of like, wow, kind of those numbers matched up. And it's like that wealth of experience, that wealth of advice that she was able to provide was great for that episode.
Awesome. And we can't go without saying this man's name. Episode 51, Get in the Water with Jamie M. Calica. It's been about 5 years since I last saw that guy. And even when I did see him, we didn't know much about each other. But thank you for coming on. Thank you for espousing all your wisdom, all your insights. And thank you for letting me know that without the unbelievable belief that you have in yourself, that this path may be wrong for you if you don't have that. So I'm going to instill that for the remainder of this year and going forward. So thank you, Jamie. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you to all of our guests that were so gracious to come on to our little podcast that could.
Yeah.
And it's been a great first year, 52 episodes of doing this. Thank you, Lucas, for being there with me along the way. Couldn't have done it without you. And really I'm looking forward to when we come back and we can show, an updated, revamped, new and improved Have We Made It Yet podcast.
No doubt. And I do want to give one shout out to my girlfriend, because we used her Zoom like for every episode. So thank you to Vanessa for that. And again, this show could not go on without actually people listening. Otherwise, it's just Josh and I talking and putting it out into the dark corners of the universe.
Yeah, the ether.
So thank you, all the listeners. We've gotten special DMs from people who say like, oh, congrats, and keep going and all that stuff. So we really appreciate it. And we are doing this for you, and we are gonna keep on going.
Yeah, absolutely. We're doing it for you, but you know what? We're also doing this for us. This is we're getting something out of it. The conversation, the experiences, the knowledge, meeting new people. So you know what? It's like we hit 105, and we'll see where we are in a year in terms of our reach. But in the end, you know what? I'm enough, Lucas. We're enough. Lucas.
We are though, Josh.
We are.
Yeah. Sorry, just on a side note too, I've been getting a lot more audition calls for animated characters right now. So
really?
I mean, Josh, like definitely, if you want to get a voice agent, try for that.
Ooh.
Use this as your portfolio.
I could use this, or I could use the Sleep with Josh podcast. Yeah. We'll put that out there. But I think we should probably wrap this up, because we've really been getting into our like nostalgia elements. We said we were gonna do this for like half an hour, and it's now, I think it might be up to close to an hour.
Yeah.
But we just don't want to go. We just don't want to go, Lucas. we just don't want. We're getting that last few little morsels of series 1.
for the last time in season 1. Josh, where can people find you?
They can find me at Josh Yang Comedy across all social media, and of course the Sleep with Josh podcast. If you want to listen to me and my voice, read very dry stuff, the weather, the dictionary, laws, you know, go on and look down to wherever you listen to podcasts and look up the Sleep with Josh podcast. Lucas, where can people find you?
They can find me in my home. I'm so bored lately. Anyways, but they can find me. I'm more active on Instagram, if anything else. So they can find me at Lucas John Ing. Again, Ing is 2 letters. N for Nancy, G for golf. You can find me there, and you can also find me there on Facebook. That I'll be reposting cool stuff that this podcast has on my Facebook and on Instagram. Do you mind if I do this plug for this podcast?
Yeah,
go. End of season 1?
Absolutely.
If you like what you see and hear, you can listen to us on all your podcast platforms, be it Spotify, Google Play, on Amazon. Are we on Amazon too?
I think we are.
Okay.
I don't know. Sometimes these podcast platforms, they just do it themselves. Like they'll just scroll through all the different like podcasts out there, and they just put them on.
Sweet. Find us on any platform for the audio version. But if you like the video content, if you like seeing our faces, can you do your Queen's Gambit?
Oh my God. Okay, fine. It's just I realized as my hair's gone longer, which you can also see by watching the podcast. Like if you watch the episode 1 of the podcast up until now, you can definitely see how long the hair is gone. It's like the pandemic hair is definitely it's definitely there. And I realized if I flare out the bottoms a little bit, I've got a bit of a Queen's Gambit.
That's gonna be your thumbnail. Okay, perfect.
No. Oh, no.
If you like again our audio, find us wherever you listen to your podcast. But if you like the good visual content, like Josh's Queen's Gambit, me in my Titanic t-shirt with Jack Dawson and Rose saying, "Jack, I'm flying," you can find us on YouTube at Have We Made It Yet podcast, or if you want to shorten it, HWMIY podcast. Please smash that subscribe button. We
smash that, hit that like button, smash it, and all that good stuff, because we need those analytics, and also we have no affiliation whatsoever with How I Met Your Mother. No affiliation with the How I Met Your Mother, because anyways, I should shut up. We should probably end this because I'm losing it now.
Okay. All right. We love you guys so much. Thank you for listening to season 1. 52 episodes, and you guys have kept with us. You guys have rocked with us. So we love you guys. Keep safe out there. And please wear a mask, wash your hands, do whatever you need to do to keep safe, because we need you here. Love you guys. Thank you so much for listening.
See you next time.
Woo.